Hello, guys, gals, non-binary pals, magical girls, sentient shadows, and other. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Lab. I'm your host, TJ Squared, and with me is my co-host,
Harper.
And with us are our special guests,
Adira and
and Zohar Rubenstein.
Yep. And on this most auspicious of, Valentine's Days? I mean, this isn't gonna come out on Valentine's Day, but we're recording it now, so, we're going to talk about what everyone should talk about on Valentine's Day. You guessed it, death.
Or lack thereof, maybe?
Yeah.
It's a love story.
It's a twisted love story.
Than death.
Living forever to spite the people that, rejected you.
I can get behind that.
I mean, the actual short story that we're referencing is by Mary Shelley. It's called The Mortal Immortal, in which a young man by the name of Whinsey, or a young lesbian by the name of...
We'll get to that later.
By the name of Whinsey, apprentices under an alchemist and drinks a potion that he thinks is going to cure him of his love for a woman who spurned him, but actually ends up either making him fully immortal or just making him never age. It's kind of unclear.
The joke about lesbians being the story is written in first person, and Mary Shelley is a girl, and I am a girl, so for the first half of it, saying, my undying love for Bertha, and there's a specific line that I think it was you won't, accept the devil to be with me, or something like that,
Yeah,
which is
won't...
a total lesbian move.
How dare you talk about love when you won't face the devil for my sake?
Yeah.
What a lesbian move, right? So I thought it was a lesbian love story involving immortality, and I thought Mary Shelley was ahead of her time. Apparently, Whinsey is the most masculine main character we could have, and is not a lesbian. But I think it's up for debate and opinion.
The main thing I'm getting from this is that lesbians fight the devil? Is that
more homophobes thinks lesbians are incarnated from the devil, but I like that take. I like the Buffy take.
Lesbian demon fighters, I can get behind that. I mean...
I also thought it was narrated by a woman.
Exactly!
And I was totally fine with that. I kind of wish it was a woman. Let's just...
I mean, we can say, does it ever... I assumed that Whinsey was a dude just because of the time period it was set in, and also it probably would have never been published if Whinsey was a girl, or if people were informed that Whinsey was a girl. So
I wish Mary Shelley could on her deathbed pull a J.K. Rowling and be like, by the way, motherfuckers, he's a girl.
Whispered, dying breath. Whinsey is a girl.
She just perishes into the night.
It is also interesting.
And Percy tries to revive her, take it back. Because Percy Shelley's kind of a dick, so...
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, also, it would be very interesting as far as an opposite to the kill your days trope. Kill your gaze trope.
I mean, kill the day, too, just night
pass
all the
the
time.
It'd be an intriguing opposite to kill your gaze in that you've got an immortal lesbian spurned by an ex-lover. Ooh.
This sounds like the best story ever.
Was jealous by the fact that her chestnut brown hair never grayed and her face never wrinkled, and she wanted both of those things to be true for herself. I think it writes itself. I'm declaring it. Mortal Immortal is a lesbian love story. I decide.
Excellent. It is now law. Yes. When, listen, we don't make the rules. Adira makes the rules.
Oh.
I do think it's interesting that she would still have a male protagonist for this, considering that she also had a male protagonist for the book she's famous for.
And the narrators sound very similar to me. I read Frankenstein last semester with Dr. Yasek, and I was reading this so sure that it was either a woman or that it was Frankenstein.
That was Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah.
Frankenstein in his intern days before he started pursuing and failing his PhD.
God, I hope it's not Frankenstein. That guy doesn't deserve to be immortal.
That's true.
Or
could you imagine the name Whinsey Frankenstein?
No wonder he wanted to be called Dr. Frankenstein. That's a horrible name. It's a horrible name.
Yeah.
We got a weak first name and a complicated last name.
No wonder he's trying to make humans make people, maybe the people he made won't laugh at him.
So
And then he was just a bad father, so it didn't work.
That was the entire plot of that book.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
shitty a daddy is.
absolutely.
Just take responsibility for your kids and not...
And accept your name. Go to therapy.
Either that or, get a new one. You're living in what? You're living in the 1800s. It's probably not that hard.
Just go to town hall, burn your birth certificate, make a new one, and be like, my name is actually Windsor. Wait, Winsy is probably a nickname for Windsor.
Probably.
That throws a wrench in our plan.
But Winsy's never referred to as anything other than Winsy.
Google will tell us. Nope. Winsy. Google result turns up a funeral home. And a Miami sports station. Like a radio station.
Yeah.
Maybe, I spelled it wrong.
What did you spell it as?
I forgot the Y. I just put wins. Why is there a funeral home called Wins?
The 4 winds? Scatter to the 4 winds?
No, wins.
With a Z.
With
W-I-N-Z. Wins.
Only the coolest of cool boys with a Z can be buried here.
Because poor little C is cool.
Imagine being...
Moving on.
Moving on.
Have you searched Winsy with a Y?
Yeah.
Well, I was going back to the story to make sure I could spell it correctly.
Yeah,
Unless you guys want to chime in here.
It's...
Well, since I haven't actually finished the story yet, why don't you finish a synopsis?
Okay.
So that we know what we're talking about.
So, the Mortal Immortal, I mean, I gave a pretty, complete synopsis earlier. Like, the only thing is that the ending of... Or, once Winsy drinks the alchemist's, immortality potion... Or he drinks, half of it. So, he drinks half of it, and then the alchemist, who he was watching the potion for, wakes up, and he startles, and, just the beaker falls and breaks, and, the alchemist gets, really mad at Winsy for destroying his life's work, and also his key to immortality.
Given he is an old man.
Yeah. So he tries to make it again.
5 years pass.
5 years pass. And, unfortunately, he dies, the alchemist dies, as he is putting the beaker to his lips to get immortality.
It's another one of those moments where he's like, he has a little bit of strength, he reaches for it, he puts it to his mouth, and then...
Winsy's a girl. My favorite part
Unfortunate for that guy.
is Winsy sitting there I drank half. Does that mean I'm half immortal? What's infinity divided by 2? And I'm just sitting there this is great.
Also,
He's trying to rationalize this.
how much of this do I have to live through?
You drank half a potion that you didn't know what it did, that was sparkling at you.
Given the rough, very tired, sleepy description by your mentor.
Yeah.
It's a cure for love.
Exactly. Dude was sleep talking at this point. Why would you take his words at face value?
Also, he was it just looks so good. That was literally the whole description.
It's like diamonds.
He wasn't even sure.
Her brain says shiny must eat.
Yeah.
He wasn't even sure if he was supposed to eat it or not, or bathe in it. He was just it just looks so delicious. I gotta.
So yeah, Winsy. We have confirmed that Winsy is A, lesbian, and B, doesn't have any impulse control.
I mean, have you met a lesbian with impulse control? I think not.
Valid.
So the story starts off with being 323rd year. So it's been 303 years since he's been made immortal. Maybe.
Yeah.
At the very least, has never gotten younger. And I read all but the last 3 paragraphs just because I was reading this in the doctor's office and then I got called in. And this is the most goth, obviously Mary Shelley, mwah.
Yeah,
But the most goth description I've ever seen. Can I just read it? I'm gonna kill time by reading it.
Go for it.
This very day I conceived a design by which I may end all, without self-slaughter, without making another man a Cain, an expedition which mortal frame can never survive, even endued with the youth and strength that inhabits mine. Thus I shall put my immortality to the test, and rest forever or return, the wonder and benefactor of the human species. Like,
what is it with Mary Shelley and sending people to the North Pole?
I know, it's weird.
Like, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
you're
that,
right.
Like, I'm pretty sure that expedition is going to the North Pole, and like, either he gets there or he's like mauled by a polar bear or something.
Or the freeze kills him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure there's like references to polar bears in there somewhere, but
Maybe
or something that could be a polar
Frankenstein's
bear.
monster up there.
Maybe it is Frankenstein's monster.
That's true. And
Exactly.
Frankenstein's monster could probably kill Whimsy, because Whimsy's got a...
choose your fighter.
Mary Shelley fighting game?
Mary Shelley
I'm here for it.
fighting game.
Fund it.
I could get
Fund it.
behind that. Someone get on this.
Kickstart it. Come
You're
on.
the CM major. Make it.
Ugh. But like,
Let's get on this, people.
listen, I'm here for the animation, not for the game studies.
I don't know anything about game theory. I can't code that.
So Whimsy, it turns out, is nothing. It's not a nickname. It's not a name.
Can you look up nicknames for Windsor?
Sure.
Which I believe is WINDSOR. Yeah, I love how he's like, I need to test something that won't eviscerate my body, make someone else a murderer if I do die, or
I'm grateful for that. You know.
yeah, you know,
Personally, it's like,
like I just need to freeze to death, which also like us in the 21st century aren't sure if is permanent or not. Like cryogenics,
Yeah.
where's that at? Just go to the North Pole, freeze yourself to death, get thawed out. Will you live?
But that's at least immortality that you're not conscious for.
yeah.
That's just a big old nap.
Yeah, because the worst thing about all of these perpetually immortal things, for me anyway, is that you're conscious through the whole of it. Like, I wouldn't mind taking 100-year nap, but if I have to wake up every like 12 or so hours, that would just suck.
But also in the last paragraph, he says 3 centuries have passed. Editor's note: it's 303. 3 centuries have passed since I quaffed the fatal beverage. He calls it the fatal beverage, despite the fact that it literally makes him not die of old age. It's the opposite of a fatal beverage.
It's fatal for everyone else.
I mean, sure, in the sense that if you put your sock on inside out, the entire universe except you is wearing that sock, but that's a weird way of looking at things. Fatal to everyone else except you because you don't die is a little too inverse for me.
You just wait.
Don't worry about
Go
it.
on.
Well, I mean, if you wait long enough, everyone else will die, so, you know.
When I look up fatal, which I knew the word, but go with me here.
What does it mean?
You've got
There's
soapbox,
2 different definitions. One is causing death, which we all knew. The other one is leading to failure or disaster. So maybe it's fatal in that
Okay.
sense.
Failure or disaster. I've been alone for 200 years and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah. Which leads me to my other thought that, like, all these people who have immortality, you know, like the classic gods, Dorian Gray, like, you have to be an asshole to be immortal, because either you are an asshole at the start or you're going to become an asshole because...
I mean, you almost always have to move and cut ties or else people notice.
And
So then you just have to
and
cut people
that in
out
the story
constantly.
too I love because
Yeah.
they tried to like move towns because the people in their own town was like, yo, this 50-year-old woman is with like a child and that's not very cool. So
And
they
also,
didn't,
that
like,
child has been a child for like the last 30 years.
don't worry about it. We'll just not buy their produce and make them leave. So they leave, they go to a new town, but then like a new girl like catches his eye. So Bertha's solution is to slap a gray wig on him. Having silver hair and totally not wrinkled skin is a recipe for more suitors, not fewer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a
Have you-
thing right now.
Hey, lady in the 19th century, have you ever watched anime?
White-haired anime boys are everyone's favorite boy.
Come on, Mary Shelley, get ahead of your time by a century and a half.
Well, actually, the British Victorians actually had a version of the weeaboo, which they called Japanesema. But there
We're
were
bad.
Really?
there were people from Victorian England who were obsessed with the Japanese.
As colonizers are wont to do.
Yeah. So they had the Victorian weeaboo, so that was totally valid.
That's
so
wild.
you're making the conspiracy connection between Mary Shelley and anime, and I'm both very here for it and very not here for it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but we as white people have a very long history of
Being the worst.
yeah,
End sentence.
yeah,
You're not
and
wrong.
an obsession with the Japanese. So
As far as
some people are more annoying about it than others.
as far as the immortality and death topic go, the thing, like, the difference is, like, you've got Dorian Gray, where, sure, he's immortal and always stays young, but that's because, like, something else takes the hit for him. Is there, in this story, like, maybe if the professor had not died the second he tried to drink the potion, maybe he would get younger and Whimsy would get older?
Possibly. I don't know if that's how that works. But
Because, the theory behind old age is you get biological here as the CS major in the room. The theory behind old age is that as your DNA copies, a teeny bit has to get chopped off just because it copies asymmetrically, and over time that teeny bit, instead of being like the nonsense DNA that's designed to get thrown in the trash, becomes actually like critical DNA for like brain functioning and organ functioning. That's why clones die really, really quickly, because they're cloned with however much of that nonsense DNA you've got, and then they just burn through it from birth.
yeah.
And so never getting older, it could, from a scientific standpoint, be that nonsense DNA never gets like cut off bit by bit. So you just stay young, and maybe we can do that. Maybe we can achieve immortality this way.
I'm pretty sure the people who are trying to,
Would not want
do
to.
that are using animals whose DNA don't age that way. There's some, like lobsters, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Their DNA isn't cut like that, and they just keep growing. The thing that usually kills them is
Their shell
their
like
shell, like
caving
holds-
in on them?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
they don't have enough energy to molt.
They
Well, it's
outgrow their
the
home.
surface area to volume problem. The reason that
Yeah.
you don't have giant monsters anymore is because they can't get enough oxygen to go throughout the volume of their body through the surface area of their body.
Well, even before they reach that point, they're just kind of crushed inside their own shell.
Well, not from like a weight standpoint. Like, you don't have like giant creatures walking around because like there's not enough like frogs. They osmosis. They get all their stuff through their skin. If you got a giant frog, there's not enough skin to get enough like essential nutrients to the rest of the frog on the inside, because radius squared versus radius cubed. There's too much meat compared to skin.
Yeah, but I
This
think
took a weird turn.
I think what he's saying is specifically for lobsters, though, because lobsters do in fact basically get crushed by their own shell.
I focused on the size aspect and
Yeah.
not the age aspect. I got in a
Yeah.
weird biology hole.
It's fine.
But my point was that I'm pretty sure that you could look this up and correct me because I'm probably horrendously wrong. But
I'm
I
googling
I
immortal
believe
lobster as we speak.
that current efforts to like achieve immortality involve
There are several food trucks named Immortal Lobster. Okay.
Yeah, they look at things like lobsters, like jellyfish, that don't. Yeah.
What other animals just have absurdly long lifespans? for
Usually
their
things
size?
underwater.
Yeah,
Turtles.
because the ocean is terrifying.
We've explored about 5% of it.
Well, I
Yeah.
think they're also looking at things like lizards, but not because of their lifespan, but
But
because they can
they're
regenerate.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I learned recently that the kakapo, which is a very large flightless parrot native to New Zealand, if it doesn't, kill itself by being a dumbass or get hurt by various cats and dogs and stuff that humans brought to New Zealand, they can live from about 60 to 100 years.
That's pretty amazing.
Those are very old birds.
Well, even
the
like
bird
tiny
world.
parrots, like people like to get parrots because they're cute and they're like brightly colored and they're like, ooh, they're fun. Not realizing that your common like pet store parrot can live for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Birds live way longer than we think they do.
Yeah. So do a lot of Sort of a lot of other pets, like goldfish. I knew this family who had a goldfish for 10 years.
Also, goldfish are supposed to get big. If your goldfish stays tiny, it's because you've given it a tiny bowl and not enough food. And I got very angry very quickly about goldfish. Let's switch topics. Oh God, I felt it like bubbling. I was
Then
like,
you
oh,
don't
no.
want to know about mine.
Oh no.
It was a clear goldfish,
Mm-hmm.
and I had it at my friend's house, and they put it in a bag with water to clean the tank, and then didn't put it back in the tank because it was clear, and then the just got thrown on the floor, and someone stepped on my fish and killed it.
That's so sad.
And this
That's
happened
awful.
Someone murdered your fish.
like 23 years ago, and I'm still sad about it.
I mean, when someone murders your fish.
You're allowed to be
So
sad
terrible.
about pet murder.
No.
Yeah. I should tell you sometime about the my aunt's misadventures with animals, but that is a long story. We're not getting into it now.
Well, today's episode theme is death, so you could.
Fine. We'll do one of the
Give one. Give us a taste.
One of the shorter ones.
Give us a taste.
My aunt, one of my aunts loved animals. Absolutely adored them. Very bad at taking care of them.
Oh no.
Like she would find, animals around, and then she would bring them in to take care of them. Apparently when she was younger, she found a bunch of ducklings, but like no duck mom. So she got the ducklings and she brought them into the house, and then she like filled up the bathtub and put them in the bathtub and left for a while, and when she had come back, they had drowned.
Aww.
Yeah.
I have a comparable
that's
story,
awful.
which is bad that I have a comparable story.
Hey, you're not off to a great start.
I'm not, am I?
No.
This was my brother's doing, though, but my mom bought baby chicks at Easter, which is always a no-no. Why would you do that?
Please don't buy small animals for Easter.
Yeah, or any holiday.
No.
And let my brother, who was like 3, play with them, and he...
Worst decision. Bad decision 1, buying an animal connected to a holiday. Bad decision 2, giving said animal to a 3-year-old.
Who killed them all,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
using
because
them
they're tiny.
as baseballs.
Oh.
And the other ones that weren't baseballs, he stuck in the seat of his little tricycle that had no air circulation, and we lived in Myrtle Beach, and it was 100-something degrees. And that's how the rest of them went.
It is deathly silent in this room right now. That's horrific.
I have nothing to say to convey my horror.
Let me alleviate some of your horror. You were right about the lobsters. Either they die because the molting process is too stressful, it's hard to make shed a shell and then make a new one.
Yeah.
Or because it's too stressful, instead of shedding a shell, they don't shed their shell and get crushed by it.
Because they just keep expanding, and at some point you
You get
expand
fatter
right
and
into your
fatter,
shell.
and you don't buy new clothes, and you just suffer.
Well, I'm glad I could
Yeah.
successfully remember one single lobster fact.
We got one lobster fact on the table.
That's an accomplishment.
This has been Lobster Facts.
Move out of here, Sci-Fi Lab. Tried and true podcast. We got lobster facts.
Tried and true.
I've been hearing about it for the past year and a half, so it's tried and true at least that long.
I don't know where you're getting this S on the facts. We just have a single lobster fact.
Some lobsters are red.
There we go. That's 2 lobster facts.
See, I didn't even say it now.
Oh, hang on.
I think there's some blue ones out
There
there.
are blue
There
ones.
are
Let me
blue
find
ones,
the
yeah.
percentage.
There are
Three.
blue lobsters.
3
Oh yeah,
facts.
it's a genetic quirk. The same way that blue eyes are a genetic quirk, blue lobsters are also a genetic quirk. It just
That's
sometimes happens, and if you don't die, you just become a blue lobster.
Shiny lobsters.
Get out of here! No. I'm still mad that there are shiny Pokemon in Gen 4, and they're only green Zubats. That is the only shiny Pokemon I've ever found in Gen 4.
Alright, well, on that note, I think we're going to end this episode off here. So, I'm DJ,
I'm Harper.
Adira.
And Zohar.
and this has been the Sci-Fi Lab. Thanks for listening.